fuck? Hey everybody, it's me, Julian, getting steadily more punk as the apocalypse goes on. But Jane is here. Can you be punk and a dog mom at the same time? I feel like you probably can. So, wow. I mean, I knew that my video about the werewolf fiction on a weird reading app would probably get more views than my usual, but like, this was a lot more views than my usual, and I even picked up some new subscribers because of it, and I can't help but feel that those subscribers are going to be very disappointed in the rest of the channel, because that's the only video like that. Like, I have my read-alongs, but they're not quite the same. So, yeah, I just have been intrigued yet baffled by this and new things that have come up within this weird little realm of Dreame, the app, and stories on Dreame, and I just am fascinated by this. So I was like, you know what, I need to film an update. I need to tell people about my shenanigans, what I've been researching. I wouldn't call it a deep dive because, again, I hate research. I would call it like I got into the part of the pool where the water is like up to my chest dive into Dreame. But the thing that spurred it all on, that blew my fucking mind, is that the author of Once Rejected, Twice Desired, the werewolf fiction, found my video. Nobody finds my videos. People don't find my videos on purpose. So she must have been searching her own story because, like, YouTube doesn't show my videos to anyone. So she must have been searching her own story and she found my video, and I was like, because, like, authors don't talk to me. I'm just like a nobody. Like, I don't exist in the world of anything. And then this author actually found me and my video, where I did absolutely shred the first portion of their story. And I went back and watched through because I was like, okay, well, now this author has contacted me, like, remind myself, how mean was I? Yeah, I was pretty mean. But I also kind of stand by everything that I said. I wasn't very diplomatic about it, but the story is very, very novice. I'm just gonna stand by that. Definitely the work of either an inexperienced author or an author who hasn't really tried to grow their craft over the years. But the author found me, and we had a very brief back and forth, which was so exciting. She came on kind of like, hey, oh, it's cool that my book is getting so much attention that people are doing videos about it. And I'm like, yeah, oh, cool. You aren't swearing at me, so let's try to be friends. So I'm like, hey, you know, welcome. Oh my gosh, please tell me about Dreame because I need to understand this. And you can see this whole, like, stunted conversation that we had. It's still on the video. I didn't, like, take it off or anything. And she did answer a few of my initial questions. And then I think she watched the video and she ghosted. Which, of the responses that an author could give to one of my videos where I tear things apart, is a very good response. Like, I cannot fault her for ghosting me. I would have ghosted me too. So, author of Once Rejected, Twice Desired, if you are watching this now, your response is perfectly valid. So I did find out a little bit more about Dreame. I was like, do you like working with Dreame? Would you work with them again? This author was like, yes. The only reason I'm not concealing their name, this is their name, I'll put it on the screen. I'm just really bad at remembering names, and I didn't write it down in my notebook, so that's why. She, I think, from what I can gather, is pretty much exclusively a Dreame author at this point. And we'll talk a little bit more about Dreame and being an author for them in a minute. But I asked her, like, do you like it? And she was like, yes, I do like it. I would work with them again. I have multiple books with them. So that was really interesting. And then the question that I really wanted an answer to, do they pay you? She ghosted and didn't answer that question. So I still don't know the number of authors on Dreame who actually get paid. I've looked at Dreame, like their website, a little bit more. I looked at how I would submit a story myself. They have a YouTube channel. They might have multiple YouTube channels, actually. But I cannot seem to find a decisive answer to who gets paid and how much and when. I also seem to get kind of conflicting answers to the question of, once you submit your story to Dreame, do they own it, or do they only like make a contract with you when they decide if they're going to pay you for it? Because the author of Once Rejected, Twice Desired is talking about on her author website, on her author Facebook, I don't know if she has a website, but on her author Facebook, she's talking about how she would like to publish them through like Kindle Direct Publishing and stuff like that. The more classic ways of doing self-publishing, because one of the big things, and I guess I'll talk about this now, with Dreame is that to read more chapters you have to pay real money. And many of the reviews, I looked at many reviews of the werewolf book, so many of them, even the 5-star ones, said that they hated that you had to pay real money to read more chapters, and they would rather just pay for a book outright and read it than have to pay probably more than you would pay for the book itself to read one chapter at a time. And like that I totally understand. And so the author of I keep wanting to say Once Bitten because it's a werewolf book, but Once Rejected, Twice Desired is thinking of moving her books, I believe it's a trilogy, to more traditional. But that makes me wonder, is she making any money off of it? Because if she was, my understanding was that she would then have a contract with Dreame, which would mean she could not publish over on other mediums. But I really don't understand.
Hey, it's Julian from the future with more findings. Because Dreame actually is kind of 3 companies and it goes under 3 different names: Dreame, FicFun, and recently I found out also something called Starry. Finding information about them is a little bit spread out, but I did look up Starry just now as I was editing, and I found some more information about people saying maybe / probably a scam. This is just anecdotal evidence from Wattpad users mostly. This person says, in theory it's legit, but in reality I would steer far away. They're really shady and your story is worth so much more than their contract would tie you into. Yeah, I'll be providing links to all of these, by the way, if you want to read them for yourself. They also, this person who just said that, linked to another person who took apart the contract that you get through Dreame. Again, I don't know when or how you actually get the contract, but they took it apart and looked at all of the shady bits, and yeah, it does seem pretty questionable. The question of whether they are a copyright holder and them taking money from you if you decide to publish in some other way, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And like I said, there will be links to everything that I talked about in this video in the doobly-doo, so you can follow all of these threads yourself.
I really need to talk to an actual Dreame author. If you are an author for Dreame, please, I want to interview you. Or if you are the author of I'm gonna say Once Bitten, Twice Desired. Once Rejected, Twice Desired. Please, I want to interview you. No shade. We won't even have to talk about your book itself, about working with Dreame, because I am fucking fascinated by this. But a big problem that people have is that you are paying by the chapter. From what I can gather, I don't think Dreame pays you, the author, unless you are getting a lot of attention. Unless you are getting a lot of readers who are paying them to read your story, then they'll be more inclined to pay you. How much they pay you, I don't know. Again, it seems very questionable to me. I don't know why, but my MLM vibes are going off, and I just can't quite. It gives off that same feeling of a thing that convinces you that you're going to make money, but ultimately you don't. However, I don't think that with Dreame you lose money as an author. Your readers lose money. Dreame is fleecing the readers, but not the author, as best I can tell. So honestly, at this point, I'm tempted to say don't support Dreame because it is kind of screwing over readers versus don't support Dreame because it's screwing over authors. I went to Dreame's like submission thing and I was like, how would I submit a story? And it behaves very much like Wattpad. Like, the submission is very much like Wattpad, but it definitely is geared much more towards romance and smut stuff. And the paranormal, it's like if Wattpad was a little bit more focused. Also on Dreame, it is very clear that these stories are not vetted or edited in any way. So what you are getting is the Wattpad quality. So you are getting stories with really bad grammar, bad spelling, not edited for content very well, because these authors are just kind of dumping onto there. Now, I don't want to say that all of them are doing that. I haven't read every single story on Dreame, but I have a sneaky suspicion that because the bar for entry is so low, you're getting a lot of, again, sort of the shovelware feeling. Now, a lot of people still do get a great deal of enjoyment out of reading stuff like that. I had quite a few stans coming on to my video about the book to say that I really liked it, I loved it, how, you know, you didn't give it a chance, you didn't read the whole thing. They're all being very civil, so thank you for that. Even they admit that, like, yeah, the spelling and grammar is pretty bad, but they don't mind. So, like, if you don't mind that stuff, still read on Wattpad, because you don't have to usually pay for that. The fact that Dreame makes you pay them, not the author for the most part, it seems like them, money to read something that was not edited, or I don't even know if it was beta read most of the time, like stuff that is like first, second draft quality, and it's making you pay for that, bothers me. Like, if you want to support an author, I very much support you going and buying their book, which might also not be well edited, but buy it on Amazon or wherever they have it for sale and support them that way, versus like also supporting this possibly kind of sketchy app of Dreame. But I did want to talk about, I totally understand why many authors would be drawn to Dreame and why they probably like it. Because I, again, didn't get a chance to ask the author of Once Bitten, Twice Buried any questions. I have to kind of speculate like why she really likes working with Dreame, but I can kind of understand as an author myself what the draw might be. And a big draw is that Dreame promotes you. When you self-publish a book, and the reason I've not been very successful self-publishing is not necessarily because my stuff is bad, but because I am bad at promoting myself. And that is a big problem that a lot of authors have. It's like, you can't just have talent at writing. You have to also be a marketing guru to make it in the self-publishing world. So if you can get onto Dreame and they can advertise your bad fiction for you, that is so much better, because Amazon's not going to do it for you. Nobody's going to help you if you go with the more standard routes of self-publishing. You have to find all these algorithms and get them to work for you, and I'm sure to some extent that does happen on Dreame. I'm sure there's a lot of undiscovered stories on Dreame, but I understand why that would be a big draw for authors, to have a platform that will actually get your stories out there to people who want to read them. That is so rare and challenging, and I completely understand, especially since it also seems like you don't have to do a lot of work to make these stories super readable. Like, if people are on Dreame, they are looking for a certain flavor of cheese, and quality is not really a concern sometimes. When you are just in the mood for that kind of cheese, you don't necessarily care if it's the cheap cheese or the expensive cheese, as long as it's the tasty cheese. Does that make sense? So yeah, that is my follow-up. I don't know, there may be more. If you are here because of that video, I don't know if I can recapture that lightning in a bottle. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but please, there's so much content here on my channel. Wander around and see what you like. See if there's anything else that strikes your fancy. You might like the other read-alongs. It's like what I did for Dreame, except for much longer. It's a series instead of just one video, so maybe that will speak to you. Otherwise, I do have several book reviews that are pretty ranty, so if that's up your street. But I think the fact that nobody really understands Dreame, and even though I have now done more research, I don't understand Dreame. Still use caution, you know? Use caution, use your head. Don't get too excited about something that seems too good to be true, because it probably is. But I think that's it for my crazy Dreame update. I will let you guys know if anything else happens, if I find anything else out. I'm gonna let you guys go, but don't forget that I post new videos Mondays and Fridays. All the links to my social media are in the doobly-doo for ease of your clicking. And if you want to boss me around, like the person who suggested I do that original video in the first place, boss me around, you can hop over to my Patreon, where there's a tier for that. And also, for as little as $1 a month, you can get access to exclusive videos that aren't seen here on the regular channel. And I will see all of you again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye!
Did someone say patrons? It was me. I said patrons just now. Try to keep up. This month's patrons are Adrienne, Lennox, Amanda, Irene, Jenny, Jesper, Lisa, Ryakio, Sabby Panda, Savvy, Scribbling Cat, and Zaire. And thanks again to all of my amazing patrons for all their support. I especially appreciate that you're able to stick around in these interesting times. When I feel blue in the night and I need you to hold me tight whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream, dream.